Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Nemesis Giant here. It is May the 14th, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Big news earlier today. Planet X News finally has discovered the orb. Had a live show on earlier today. The Physicist has finally brought it out, and they are acknowledging that it's there. It is real. Now, some questions were raised. How long has it been here? Is it actually in the solar system? How far away is it? Is it orbiting the sun? We're going to try and find some answers for that. Start out today, this video, with just kind of a quick run by of all the files that you can come by from 2007, January 2007, when it first shows up, the first Sechi videos that you can get. They don't keep anything on file before that, so it could have been here before then. We'll never know. Let's get us rolling here. This first one just goes haywire. Then it shows up. Okay, now there's some missing files. 2013, 2014, 2015, the entire year's gone. NASA shows one video over and over for the entire year, and it doesn't show anything. It's just a mess. So we got to show what it is that we have with the evidence that we have. So we started in orbit there, 2007, January, February, March on satellite H1B, and then it comes back around in August on H1A. Now in the beginning, it's running a little bit wider open orbit. It's taken about 5 months for it to make it around one side. As we get further through, it runs back into a tighter orbit of 4 months out, around, and then 8 months out. So here we come, and there she is. And they have brought us some other questions. Is it interacting with any other objects out there, which I've shown this before? Obviously we're having major interactions, because here's our plasma loops that are going towards our object. It's not going towards the sun, it's following our object, and it's going to continue doing that through all our videos whenever it interacts with anything else other than planets. So these obviously are other stars that are attracting to it, which means that it's most likely a star, which the physicists have brought up. Is it a star? Is it a planet? Is it a brown dwarf star? Is it another? Is it our sun's sister star? Those are all questions still to be answered. Okay, then it comes back around on B in 2008 in February again. So we were 7 months out. Now I'm also finding correlation here with Terrell. He's saying that the dark star is running on a 188-day cycle, which roughly 4 months, which is giving us our 4-month orbit on the one side of the sun. So I'm saying that Terrell's dark star is actually our orb that's orbiting the sun. Here she is right here. He's running on a 188-day cycle, And we're running on a 4-month orbit. So, coincidence? Yes. Can we see the dark star? No. Can we see this? Yes. So, to me, that says this is our object, and I'm not sure whether the dark star is there or not. I'm not doubting Terrell's science. He's got stuff down to all kinds of facts, figures, and everything else, which I'm going to delve into tomorrow and compare with his notes as far as earthquakes and different cycles, and compare it to the orb's orbit. Let's speed this up a little bit here. We'll be all night. So then in 2008, we're back around. Let's get it out. Now it's going to come back around in August again. So now we're tightening in on the 4-month orbit, which is roughly your 188 days. And Terrell is also saying that his running on a 377-day year rather than a 365, which we could pass this off because every year it kind of pushes forward a little bit through its cycle, that it doesn't come back exactly the same day every month. It pushes forward a little bit through the month. I haven't calculated that down quite that far yet, but we'll get there. But as the physicist pointed out, we all thought that these were all background stars, but there's just too many of them, and they're showing up in front of this object, which would put this object behind them, which makes it way too large to be that far away. So this has to be closer. And all these aren't background stars. This is all just debris, or could it just be NASA throwing out a bunch of noise and a bunch of stuff just to obfuscate and make it easier for them to hide stuff? Here we're coming back around in January, just like we did in 2007 and 2008. So it's running a pretty consistent orbit. It's really hard to deny. And here we go. There's our 4 months, January to May. It's going to come back around on stereo A. Now, even though we've got some missing files and some missing years, it still catches right back up on our files that we fill in the gaps. There's a huge, you can't even call that a CME, that's a sun explosion. And see, our plasma ejections keep following, they keep following our giant orb. I'm saying that this is now, I say this is our sister sun, our sister star. The funny thing is, different times that it comes by, it runs at different speeds. One year we've got a pretty quick orbit, and the next year it slows down a little bit. Now, as we get closer to today, and really as of today, it's pretty much come to a screeching halt, so don't know what's going to come of that. It's already played hell orbiting. What's it going to do sitting still? So now we're this 2010, we've slowed way down. So there's something that's pulling all kinds of forces with this. We're saying it's not gravitational forces that drive the universe. We're saying it's magnetics. So I'm thinking it's interacting with these other brown dwarfs. See it kind of slow down and come to a halt when it comes by these bigger brown dwarfs. They almost stop together with each other there for a little bit and then kind of get going again. And then this guy will move on out and our big orb will move on. But you see they kind of met there and almost stopped and just sat together for a little while. But yet on the years, you see when there's not any of these other bigger brown dwarfs, it kind of just scoots right on by. And here we're back again. There was our 8 months out. We're back in January. And we just had a brown dwarf over here with a plasma ejection. And we've got another one coming up here and it's creeping by again. 2011. Actually, in 2011 on B, it comes by twice. To start up the following year where it comes off of orbit. Just the slightest bit, it drops back from January and drops into December. And here it goes. A little harder to see here, but there it lights up with the sun. See, she's moving on a little faster now because our other brown dwarfs have kind of gotten out of the way, and it's on a little bit of different orbit up above the ecliptic now. And now we're back 4 months later, and we're interacting with another brown dwarf here, and it's come to a standstill again. So that's my only thoughts of what it can be interacting with, and here we are again interacting off of this one, and there's another one coming in over here, and we're crawling along. And again, we'll have a plasma ejection come off of here back this way. There it comes. So now we're jump ahead. Now here in 2014, we don't get to see it in 2014, but I'm thinking what they've done is I've never seen this much noise in the background. Look at this. We're going to see this in 2014 and again in 2016, I believe. Look at all that. It's almost like the whole back is just all melted together. I believe they've hidden it behind that. I think this was their first attempt at hiding it. Because as of now, with the physicist showed in her pictures today, they're trying to airbrush it out. I believe this was their first attempt. They just put a whole bunch of messed up blob in front of it, because see, now we go back to our normal sky like they had been showing. Well, I shouldn't say sky, but whatever this amount of stuff that they've put up here that they're trying to say is the sky. But up until that point in time, it's always been this basic starscape that you would call it. And then all of a sudden you got this great big melted blob, and it doesn't show up that year. Now here it's kind of moving on again, but we've got our big brown dwarf up here, and of course it's interacting again. And now we've come to 2017, and it's just barely moving here. And we've got 3 right here, actually 4, and it's going to come to a screeching halt. And oh, no, it's still back this way. It's still back this way. Here it is, and there goes a plasma ejection. Here's a 3 coming up on it, and it's going to bring it to a screeching halt here. And for the rest of March and May, you can't even see it, but it stops. You can see right here where it's just come to a standstill. This is our outline right here. Okay. So that's our timeline from 2007 up till today, and that pretty much shows the orbit. It takes it 4 months on one side of the sun, and it takes it 8 months on the other side. And we've proven that it's interacting with the other brown dwarf stars. So it's got to be a magnetic attraction between the 2 of them. I'd like to thank Scott and the Physicist and Mr. Potter. I'm glad y'all finally recognized my orb. I guess we're going to get some real work done on it now. We got the Physicist on it. If there's anything I can do to help, I'd really like to. Well, thanks everybody for watching my video. Like I said, I'm going to be making another one, and we're going to delve into going with tarot and seeing how our orb is working with the different effects that the dark star is having, and see if we can match up our dates and see if the dark star may just be the giant orb, the Nemesis giant. Have a good night, and see you soon.